Okay, so today we are going to begin with part C of our economics, business and commercial laws. In that we have part C, which is of 35 marks. Okay, your module 2. In module 2, subject is our EBCL. In EBCL we have part C, all are all aware. We have part A, part B and part C. Part C is of 35 marks. Starting with the interesting topic today, okay? Money laundering. Money laundering is a part of the Act of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so we are going to do two laws in this kind of anti-corruption laws. Prevention of Money Laundering Act is also known as a anti-corruption law. Okay. So in anti-corruption laws, we will be doing Prevention of Money Laundering Act along with Benami transactions. Okay. So these are the two acts which belong to anti-corruption laws. We are going to complete these two. Okay. Now starting with today, as we have to study our PMLA Act 2002. Okay. What do you all understand by money laundering? Okay, what is the concept? What do we mean by money laundering is very important here to understand. Okay, because once understood with this, okay, once we understand this money laundering, the entire chapter is clear. Okay, that is why, once we know money laundering, we know why this act is made. Why do we have these kind of laws in place and known as anti-corruption laws? Okay, so money laundering, first thing, what is money laundering? To understand that is to give your black money a clean chit and transferring it and making it white money. Okay, in the simple language, money laundering is nothing but turning all your black money, converting all your illicit funds into a legitimate funds, white money. Okay, so obviously there are various ways of collecting this illegal money. Conversion of illegal money into legal money is money laundering. So this means we are having certain sources from which illegal money is collected. Correct? Now what can be that one source? Okay, from where I can collect illegal money? Say I have terrorist activities. Okay. Then any other kind of illegal way of collecting funds, women trafficking, smuggling. Okay, so there can be various ways in which illegal money, illegal funds are collected by a person. Obviously black money अपने पास तो नहीं रख सकते, so they have to convert this into a white money. So when that procedure has to take place, how it is converted, they will have to place it in such a manner, okay, this entire black money has to be placed in such a manner that this entire illegal funds will seem to be legal to the law. Okay, now what are the ways? How do people do this? First, the vanilla way of layering and integrating your money is whatever black money you have collected. Okay, you invest in luxury properties, real estate business, houses, villas, etc. So automatically your entire money is now as a fund, you have invested your entire money and you have funded a particular real estate or a house and real estate business, making a property here and there. Okay, this is one of the most easiest way of converting this illegal money. Second, round tripping. Round tripping is something wherein I go abroad. Okay, in those countries, first, which are those tax haven countries, also who do not bother regarding, they like kind of promote money laundering. They do not have this disclosure of information to other countries. So people start putting their money in Swiss account, Switzerland. Okay, then you have Cayman Island. Okay, so these are the places. Okay, I go there, I take my entire money and I make a shell company and I'll say that मेरा उधर business है, वहाँ पे से business में से मेरा पैसा आ रहा है, पूरा का पूरा invest कर दिया, and then I keep on showing that this is the amount of profit I'm getting. So the illegal money turns into legal money. Then black salary. What is black salary? Black salary is nothing but paying salaries in cash, paying all the expenses which you are kindly doing, like, you know, whatever is your expenses, everything you are giving in cash. Okay, no bank transactions, nothing at all. Also investing your money in lottery businesses. Say suppose there is this Mr. A who runs a lottery business. So I give my entire black money to him. Okay, and then he will give me a lottery ticket saying that, okay, I had given him 1 crore rupees. He gave me a lottery ticket of 80 lakhs. I tell him, you keep 20 lakhs. This is yours. 80 lakhs mera white ho gaya directly, immediately. Okay, so these are the certain ways, certain methods, and you know, like, we should obviously know this act because these are actual practical ways in which people are following since years and using their, you know, these techniques to convert these kind of money, okay, and have a tax clear chips, okay, like nothing at all goes wrong with these kind of people. Then we have Benami transactions that we will see in the next chapter. Benami transaction is a chapter itself. Benami means like I am buying a real estate or I am opening a company but not in my name, in someone else's name. Okay, so we will see this entire act also. So they have started prohibiting this Benami transactions also. They want to combat this entire money laundering. Okay, what is our purpose? In India today and everywhere, the purpose is to combat money laundering. So the acts are also prohibitory in nature. Okay. Then some people sell all those things which are not useful on OLX and Flipkart. Okay, for example, okay, just taking an example, you can take example of MF Hussain also. Say he makes a painting. Okay, he's a painter. Painting banaya, then he got in contract with Mr. Y, saying that my painting is of 1.2 crores. Okay, I'm transferring this full money to you and you buy this painting from me. You pay me 1 crore back and 20 lakhs you can keep. Okay, so this is also one kind of a business which people do with their illegal money. And सबसे safe NGO funding. Keep on funding those NGO खोल दो. Okay, Being Human, etc., etc. You all know the other names of NGOs. So NGO खोल दो. Nobody will come to know from where what money is coming. Okay, so if you see this diagram which I have made here, it will show you these you know, some of the methods of layering and integrating your money. So once you have money with the various sources, illegal money is collected, you start placing it. Okay, so you integrate that money. Placement is mean you're trying to integrate that money into the financial system. Okay, even financial market, stock exchanges are used. You know, people start investing over there. Also banks. Okay, they make various accounts, transactions. Okay, lines of transactions they do over the bank. So they put this money, integrate into the financial system. Say for example, they make false payment. Payment made by Y of false invoice. Actual no transaction has taken place to company X. Then transfer to the bank account of company X is some shell company. Okay, there is no company such existing. Then you're showing this as a loan. Okay, then offshore banking, you're keeping your money offshore. Okay, and then when all this money, okay, when it turns into legal, you kind of integrate it back in the market, saying you purchased an asset, luxury assets, you do financial investments, commercial, industrial investments. Okay, so this is how basically money laundering functions. Okay, these are the techniques people use since years, and they try to place their entire black money in the financial market, bank market, and integrate it in such a manner that they convert this entire illegal money into legal money. Okay, so now what are we going to study in this chapter? Basically, first, okay, what is money laundering? So now with this entire explanation, we have understood that obviously it is a processing of criminal proceeds. Okay, criminal proceeds. Illegal funds is a criminal proceeds. Okay, to disguise its illegal origin. So it can arise from terrorism, illegal arms sales, financial crimes, smuggling activities, drug trafficking, okay, prostitution rings, etc. Okay. This activity, these all criminal activity, they generate substantial profits. Okay, the individual or group involved in such activities, what do? They route the funds to safe havens by disguising the sources, changing its form, moving the funds from one place to another where they are less likely to attract any kind of attention. Okay, so they use various methods which is the most suitable for them, and then they convert this entire illegal money into legal form. Now, how is money laundered is the important question. So a diagram basically explained that what will I do first. The money laundering takes part in 3 stages, most important. Okay, so first I will do a placement. I will introduce my funds in the financial system. Okay, in the initial or the placement stage of money laundering, what does a launderer do? He introduces his illegal profits into the system, breaks up the amounts into smaller sums so that it is less likely to get attracted. Okay, and then they are deposited into a bank account. Second, they start layering. Okay, layering is carrying out complex financial transactions from one end to another, having various accounts. Okay, so like somewhere, like if you see even today, you see these rent agreements. Okay, rental. I'll give you a live example. Okay, which I have gone through. This is a where I stay. It is a rented house. Now this rented house is actually, I am paying rent to Mr. X per month rent. You all know what is a rented house, huh? Per month. Correct? Now what has this house is not even belonging to Mr. X, and sublet to hum kar hi nahi sakte. So what has he done is, he has taken this property from Mr. Y. Samajho, huh? He's taken this property from Mr. Y on heavy deposit. So what I have come to know, that he has taken this at 50 lakhs rupees. Yani pura ka pura 50 lakhs usne Mr. Y ko de diya. This is not a sale. Okay, just on heavy deposit he has taken. Once the term will end, 20 years term pe liya hai usne, 20 years. Once this 20 years term will end, Mr. Y will have to pay him back this 50 lakhs. Okay, तो यानी उसको 50 lakhs को वापस मिलना ही है after 20 years. And now what will this Mr. X do with this property? He is not staying. So he is given to me on rent. Okay, he is rented to me, taking whatever, X amount, say 20,000 per month. ठीक है ना? So now he is taking this entire amount in black. He will not take a check, because it will be questioned, okay, bhai, from where are you getting this full year, 2 years का पूरा 2,40,000 अगर year का मैं पकड़ूँ, 12 months का 2,40,000, he will be questioned. So from where are you getting this? Right? So he is taking this entire money in black, full cash. Okay, he doesn't accept any checks, nothing. Okay, no bank transfer, nothing at all. He takes this and then he collects this kind of money, and again he buys another kind of this house on heavy deposit. So getting my point, it is like a complex financial transaction which he keeps on doing. Or else he'll take this entire money and keep putting some amounts, 20,000 here, then 20,000 to his father, 20,000 mother, then some amount he'll show it as a loan. So this is how they will layer that entire black money. Okay. And then the last is the integration. Then whatever the wealth they have generated with this kind of a transaction, either they will buy a real estate property, or they will open some pizza parlor, okay, some kind of a shop, or offshore, they will show that offshore mein mera ye business chal raha hai, wahan se paisa aa raha hai. So then they will again reinvest these funds into real estate, luxury assets, or business ventures, big joint ventures. Like you're saying, I'm doing industrial investments, I'm the investor. Okay, so this is how the money laundering takes place. So this is the most important question from this chapter up till now. Okay, so of course when I talk about money laundering, And since it is a corrupted activity, it has an impact on our development. Okay, social, economic, political, everything is affected due to money laundering. And if it remains unchecked, then it will be very serious. And many people have taken an advantage of such money laundering activities, and now they are not even available. Okay, people just leave the country and they go. Okay, you are not even able to kind of, we are not able to even know the source. Okay, where their money is kept, or how have they, unless and until some serious actions are taken against them, or they are caught with some particular given activity. Okay, so overall in the entire world, globally, many initiatives have been taken, okay, for preventing this money laundering. So what are the global activities? Once we'll do this global activities, after that we will see the India initiative. What is India doing for combating this money laundering? So first one in that we have the Vienna Convention. Okay, it is the first major activity, and Vienna was for against any illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances in 1988. And therefore it like the big name is narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, and it is now known as like Vienna Convention. The short name is Vienna Convention. It was the United Nations Convention, the first convention ever, okay, in order to stop and combat money laundering activities, especially only in narcotic drugs. Okay, it was the groundwork for the efforts to combat money laundering by obliging all the member states, okay, who are a part of this convention, to criminalize those who are laundering money from drug trafficking. Okay, so there were many states who are a member of this Vienna Convention. It made obligatory on each and every state that whoever has any kind of illegal money coming from drug trafficking, okay, you will be punishing them under this Narcotic Drugs and Substances Act. Second one was Council of Europe Convention. Okay, Council of Europe Convention said that on laundering, they said search, seizure and confiscation of proceeds of the crime. So in case if there is any kind of money or property etc. which is a result of money laundering, we will search that, we will also seize that, and we will also confiscate that particular property, and we will establish a common policy on the same. Okay, so all the member states had obliged to this as well. Okay, it laid down the principles for international cooperation among the member states. It came into force in September 1993. So what was the purpose? It was to facilitate international cooperation, each country cooperating with each other, so that if money is laundered from one country and then it is integrated in another country, so it was to combat that as well. Okay, as regards to investigate, assistance, search, seize, confiscate the proceeds of all types of criminal activity. Okay, from the activities or crimes such as drugs, arms dealing, terrorist offenses, etc. Okay, then we had another European Union Money Laundering Directive. It removed a directive. Directive is like we have guidance, rules, regulations, something like that. Okay, they issued a directive on prevention of use of financial system. They wanted to prevent the financial system from these money laundering activities, because when these kind of money is integrated in the financial system, it affects the entire financial system in a very in a very hazardous manner. Okay, so they wanted to protect this financial system. They did not want only any money laundering activities, money getting integrated in the financial system at all. Okay, the directive requires the member states to outlaw, remove and criminalize money laundering. They wanted to remove it completely. Okay, then they had put under, all the member states were put under the obligation to require these financial institutions, the financial institutions are banks, okay, to establish and maintain such internal systems that it will automatically prevent money laundering. Okay, so like you have to identify your customers. Now we have a KYC. You report suspicious transactions. All of a sudden there is so much of money in the account. Why so? Okay, issue of your PAN card, when you're trying to remove more money or put in more money in your account. So all these are the part All this has come, in due to all these conventions and, all these Money Laundering Act guidelines and principles and directives which they have stated. Okay. Then you have Basel Committee's Statement of Principles. Okay, these were the also set of principles which they had to be complied by the member states. Okay, but especially the international banks. They said you have to identify the customers, avoid any suspicious transactions, and also cooperate with law enforcement agencies. It would ensure that the banks are not used. Okay, generally people use to banks to hide their funds. Okay, so they wanted that the banks should not be used as a medium to launder the funds. Then we have a resolution of International Organization of Securities Commission. This is an IOSCO. Okay, they had adopted a resolution to take the necessary steps and combat money laundering in securities and future markets. Okay, securities market, apna capital market. Okay, so that capital market is generally getting exploited due to money laundering activities. People start investing money in capital markets. Okay, so they wanted to combat that as well. Then we have question number 4 from this chapter. We can say the Financial Action Task Force. Okay, so this Financial Action Task Force was specially established for money laundering, to combat money laundering activities, and it was established in the G7 summit, which was held in Paris in 1989. Now, what is this Financial Action Task Force? First, the most important, it is an intergovernmental body. Okay, the purpose of which is set up with a specific purpose, and the purpose is only that, is development and promotion of those kind of policies, okay, both at national level, at international level, in order to combat laundering and terrorist financing. So this is a body, okay, it is an intergovernmental body who makes all the policies. So it is a policy making body, okay, and they have made a lot of efforts, okay, and they are still making efforts, okay, to adopt and implement measures designed to counter the use of financial system by criminals. Because once this stops, once the exploitation of financial system stops, okay, for these illegal activities, okay, wherein the money gotten from illegal activities are introduced in this financial system, if this will stop, money laundering will stop. Okay, so basically the main task of Financial Action Task Force is to monitor the members' progress, whether they are applying these policies properly, review the policies and techniques and countermeasures which they have made, and promoting the adoption and implementation of appropriate measures by non-member countries also. Okay, now we are coming to the topic wherein question number 5, you can say prevention of money laundering. What has India done? Okay, the Indian initiatives for money laundering. So we had a bill which was passed for prevention of money laundering in 1999. Okay, and it received its assent by the president, and thus we have the Act, Money Laundering Act 2002. Okay, the object of money laundering. This is the most important thing. Okay, you can write the object of money laundering as an introduction to any question which they ask you from this chapter. Okay, first is to prevent money laundering. Obviously, once, okay, prevent to karna hi hai. Nahi hua to you can also do confiscation of those properties which were either derived or they were involved or they were formed by money which was laundered, and any matters connected therewith incidental thereto. Okay, so these are the objects of money laundering. Now, section 3 of this act. Section 3 states that whoever, okay, if he is acquiring, he owns, possesses, or transfers any proceeds of crime, or knowingly enters into any transaction which is related to the proceeds of crime directly or indirectly, or he is concealing or aids the concealment of the proceeds, he will be treated guilty of the offense of money laundering, which will be punishable. Okay, so basically section 3 has given everything. They are saying that even if you acquire, own, possess or transfer, okay, the proceeds of crime, or you knowingly enter into any transaction which is related to the proceeds of crime, or you conceal or you aid in concealment in the proceeds of crime, you will be treated as guilty of money laundering. Okay, फिर भले शायद तुम्हें कोई उस money laundering से you have benefited or not benefited, but if you have aided in concealment, you have done something which is related to that crime, you will be treated offense under this act. Okay, criminal under this act. Then section 4, that provides that any person who commits the offense of money laundering shall be punishable with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 3 years. Okay, so it shall not be less than 3 years. So minimum 3 years, and which may extend to 7 years. And you are also liable with a fine of rupees 5 lakhs. Okay. However, where the proceeds are related to narcotic, drugs and psychotropic substance act, then the punishment is rigorous punishment of up to not 7, but then it will become 10 years. Okay. Then next we have attachment of property involved in money laundering. तो जैसे ही पता चल गया कि ये property money laundering की वजह से आया है, immediately they will, if once they have searched it, they will seize it and they will confiscate it. Okay. So here they say where any director or officer, okay, has any reasons to believe that the person who is having the possession of that property, he has got this property due to money laundering activities, then such officer by order in writing, he will make an order in writing and provisionally attach such property for a period of maximum 180 days. Okay, so he is allowed to attach a given property for 180 days max. So an officer can suo motu, okay, wherein he feels, okay, by himself that yes, this kind of a property is possessed due to money laundering activities. He will give an order in writing and he will attach your property. That attachment order is valid for 180 days. The director or any other officer who provisionally attaches such property shall within 30 days from such attachment file a complaint and place such attachment before the adjudicating authority. यानी attach करके रख नहीं देना है. Within 30 days you have to make a complaint and put that complaint before the adjudicating authority. So here these are the roles of the director and the officer who have the right to attach the properties gained from money laundering. Now what happens in adjudication? Section 8 provides that once the receipt of complaint, once you receive a complaint from the director or the officer, then this adjudicating authority will serve a notice of not less than 30 days. यानी at least 30 days का time देना चाहिए to that person, okay, to come and present himself, okay, and also indicate the sources of his income, give the entire breakup or the data about that particular property or the income from where he received and he brought that property. Okay, the evidence on which he relies and other relevant information in particular, and show the cause. Okay, so a notice is issued to this person, show cause notice, that within 30 days, okay, you show us the cause that why such property should not be declared as a money laundering property and should not be confiscated by the central government. You show us the cause. Show cause notices means what? That when such notices is sent, okay, to the the person, okay, who is, we say that, okay, he must have committed this crime. So if I am sending this notice to Mr. X, I am asking him that you show me the cause, that why as an officer or as an adjudicating authority, okay, why should I not treat this particular property as a property which has come from money laundering, and why should this not be confiscated by the central government? So you have to prove it to me. Okay, give me the list of the details of the income which you have received and by which you have purchased this property. So section 8. Then section 9, vesting of the property in the central government. Section 9 says that where an order of confiscation is made, then the property will belong to the central government and all the rights and titles, etc., it will be free from any encumbrances, any liability. Okay, so if the property is attached Attached means what? It is as of now seized. Okay. Once you are being proved guilty, that property will be confiscated. Confiscation means what? That property will belong to central government now. It will vest with central government. Okay. Then we have the most important topic again here. Obligations on banking companies, financial institutions and our intermediaries. Intermediaries, you will understand it better when we will be doing a SEBI Act, okay, securities and capital laws, securities laws and capital markets subject. When we will start, at that time you will understand intermediaries are better, in a better way. Why? Because intermediaries are those who are a face, okay, between the investor and the company, or between the investor and investor, like your brokers, your stock brokers, your merchant bankers, underwriters. Okay, those are the intermediaries in the capital market. Okay, so even capital market is exploited due to these money laundering transactions, and intermediaries are nothing but they perform a function like a bank only. So these obligations, they are put on banking companies, on financial institutions and also on intermediaries. Okay. So the most important part of this chapter, obligations. Now what are the obligations they have placed on these companies, on banks and financial institutions? Section 12, they say that every banking company or a financial institution and an intermediary, they have to maintain the record of all the transactions. Okay, so you have to mention the nature, the value, the date, etc. Okay, everything. Maintain a complete record of each transaction. Whether the transaction is a single or it has a series of transactions legally connected with each other, and when such series of transactions take place within a month. Okay, so single transactions ka to obviously there will be record, every bank maintains it. Okay, when there is a series of transactions which you feel that is legally connected with each other within a month, that has to also be maintained separately. Okay, these informations you are supposed to submit to the director, and within such time whenever the director has asked for. Okay, director under this act, the officer under this act. Okay, then banks and financial institutions are required to verify and maintain those records of the identity of all its clients in the manner which is given and prescribed under this act. Okay, the records are mentioned, okay, are to be maintained for a period of now 10 years. Now since everything is online over the software, it can be it can be maintained for lifelong. Okay, from the date of cessation of the transaction between the client and the banking company or the financial institution or intermediary. So this was section 12, which said that each company, banking company, financial institution, intermediate, to keep a record of each transaction, whether it is single, whether it is a series of transactions, and provide it to the director as and when required, and maintain such transactions details for a period of 10 years from the cessation of transaction between the client and the bank. Okay. Section 13, the director, okay, may either on its own motion, suo moto, or on an application made by any other authority or officer under this act, he may call for the records of all the transactions of a given time, okay, of a given person, and he may start an inquiry as he thinks fit. Okay, in the course of the inquiry, if the director finds that the banking company or this institution or intermediary or any of its officer has failed to maintain or retain the records, then he may order a levy fine on such companies, okay, or which shall not be less than 10,000 rupees and which may extend to 1 lakh rupees for each failure. So section 12, section 13 done. And now section 15 says it empowers the central government, okay, it is a central legislation, so it empowers the central government to prescribe, okay, in consultation with RBI of course, the procedure and the manner in which the information will be furnished for purpose of the act. Okay, so whenever there is a information which is needed by the director or any other officer, what will be the manner in which the banks will provide the information, that they have to consult the RBI and place one procedure. Okay, Then we know this Know Your Customer initiative, KYC. Okay, so KYC introduction. What is KYC? Basically, the objective of Know Your Customer norms, anti-money laundering measures, combating or financing of terrorism guidelines is to prevent banks from being used, okay, by these criminal elements for money laundering. Okay, so KYC is to understand the customer, their financial dealings better, okay, and therefore they can manage the risk. KYC policy, customer acceptance for the 4 keys, then customer identification, then monitoring the transaction, and the risk management. Information, how you will preserve the information? You will have to preserve the nature, the amount, the date, and the parties. And maintenance and preservations of the record. Okay, here the banks are required to maintain the records containing information of all the transactions, everything, and they have to take steps, okay, for proper maintenance and preservation in the manner which is being required and the way it has been told by the competent authorities. Okay, also they should see that they have all the records regarding the identification of the customer. For example, passport, identity cards, driving license, PAN card, etc. Okay, they have to also pay special attention to any complex or unusual transactions or unusual patterns of the transaction of that particular client. Alright, so this is basically the obligations which are being put on the banks, the financial institutions and intermediaries, and it is one of the important question under this chapter, okay, which might be asked. Okay, so with this I have completed your Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So just as a quick revision, what we did was, we first did question number 1, what is money laundering? Correct? So you will just get a, a kind of a detailed outlay of what you have to do. Okay, what is the procedure, okay, of money laundering? So we did 3 stages, right, of money laundering. Right. First is the placement. You place that money, layering, and then you integrate it back in the market. Okay. Obviously, these kind of money laundering activities, they have an effect on the entire development of the whole nation, as well as the entire global development is also affected. So we had certain global initiatives. We did 5 global initiatives. Okay, then we have a Financial Action Task Force, which is an intergovernmental policy making bodies, based on whose policies we also have made a Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, in which we also did the objects of the act along with section 3, section 3, section 4, correct, section 5, which are the most important sections, then adjudication, section 8, okay, then we also have done the obligations on banks, okay, in that which we have covered section 12, 13 and 15 and KYC norms. Okay, so with this basic only 5, like today itself you can finish this chapter, read it, study it, and it is done, it is over. Okay, so with this I complete my Prevention of Money Laundering. I will continue with Benami Transactions Act. Okay, thank you.